Have you ever wondered what silence sounded like before electricity, before noise, before rush? In the wooden heart of a distant land, there lived a woman whose days were long, but her voice unheard. The first light slips through the cracks of the wooden window. The wind outside makes the shutters moan faintly. Eleanor opens her eyes, not with urgency, but with rhythm. A rhythm inherited from years of repetition, not alarm clocks. She pulls off the heavy woolen blanket and sits upright on the creaky bed. The wooden floor is cold, even in July. Her feet search for the wool slippers her mother once stitched for her wedding. There's no mirror, only a brass basin with leftover water and a cracked piece of glass nailed to the wall. She dabs her face gently and ties her hair in a loose bun. The day is not waiting, it's already begun. In the kitchen, the hearth is asleep. Only cold ashes remain from last night. She pushes a few dry twigs in and strikes a matchstick. The small flame shivers but survives.
She grinds cornmeal for porridge and sets a kettle over the fire. No one else is awake yet, just the faint sound of birds and the groaning wood above. In the next room, the children lie tangled in woolen sheets. She tiptoes in, gently whispering, "Martha, Ben, it's morning." They stir like sleepy kittens, their cheeks warm and eyes half closed. After dressing them, washing their faces with cold well water, she kisses their foreheads. There is no school today, just the rhythm of farm chores and daydreams. She steps out into the garden. The air smells of wet earth and ripe beans. She checks the herbs first. Lavender's holding strong, but the thyme looks tired, she murmurs. Beyond Sometimes silence speaks louder than 1,000 voices. In the quiet corners of her world, Mary listens, not to words, but to time. The morning has settled into a gentle hum. The sun is now higher, casting a warm hue on the old wooden floor of the kitchen. Mary wipes her hands on her cotton apron and steps outside. A small breeze stirs the clothes she hung earlier. She smiles as the sleeves sway like they're waving to her. She walks past the creaking wooden fence to check on the hens. One of them seems restless. "Lucy again," she whispers. Always the drama queen. She picks up a few fresh eggs and places them gently in her wicker basket. Inside the house, the children are humming. Sam is trying to make a paper sailboat from an old newspaper. Ellie has braided her doll's hair and is now rocking it like a baby. The house is not loud, but it breathes, like a living memory. Mary walks back in, holding the eggs close to her chest like treasure. Mary begins preparing lunch. She lights the stove again, and this time, the fire is stronger. She boils beans slowly, adds a pinch of salt. She hums an old tune, a lullaby her mother sang when she was little. Just then, her husband enters, boots muddy, hat in hand. He doesn't speak much, but his eyes find hers. Their glance holds a world of conversation. They sit on the back porch, sharing a meal in the soft shade of the afternoon. "Tom's cow is sick again," he says. Mary nods, brushing flour from her skirt. "We should send them some herbs," she replies. The children laugh as a butterfly lands on the porch. John leans back, sighing. For a moment, the world is still. No time, no war, no struggle. Just this porch, these hands, this peace. Mary watches her husband close his eyes. She knows the fatigue, the quiet ache in his back, the burden of tilling the soil again and again. But she also sees the strength, the will to endure. In that moment, she doesn't feel poor, she feels rich, with moments like these. Silence doesn't always mean distance. Sometimes it's just peace in disguise. The afternoon sunlight grows softer. By early afternoon, the strong golden sunlight of the day had mellowed. Mary stood at the wooden sink, her hands still damp from rinsing out the cooking pot. Through the open window, the field shimmered in quiet slumber. No birds, no tools clanking, just the hum of summer. John returns from the fields. The sound of boots on the front porch broke the stillness. It was John, dusty, sweaty, and tired. He didn't say much. He rarely did during this time. Mary handed him a cool clay mug filled with water and a slice of bread. No words were exchanged, just a nod. The two sit together in silence. They both sat on the small bench outside, under the shade of the fig tree. Mary looked at the distant hills, while John looked down at the calluses on his hands. Internal dialogue. Mary. It's strange how love becomes less about words and more about presence. A letter from her sister. Later, Mary checks the drawer where she kept old papers. Among them is a worn letter from her sister back in Pennsylvania. She runs her fingers over the familiar handwriting. The words are simple, but they carry warmth. Miss your voice every morning. Preparing yarn, spinning wool. By 4 p.m., she brings out her wooden spinning wheel. The children are playing with pine cones in the yard. Mary ties the first thread, turns the wheel, and watches as the fibers slowly dance into yarn. Background sound. Cue. Slow spinning wheel sound. Children's laughter in background. Birds in distant trees. Twilight sets. In shadows lengthen, and the wooden house breathes in a cooler air. A breeze picks up dust and dances along the porch. The chickens return to their coop. Mary places a small kerosene lamp on the windowsill and lights it. Peace before the storm, symbolic. Just before dinner, the silence deepens again, but it's not heavy, it's grounding. It's the kind of silence that feels like a warm quilt on a tired soul. Closing whisper. For this session, in the quiet, we remembered who we were before the world made us forget. At night, when everyone sleeps, she finally becomes herself. The kitchen smells of lentils, boiled potatoes, and hot flatbread. Mary lays the clay plates on the wooden table. The children are sleepy, their eyes half closed as they eat. John finishes quietly and steps outside for his pipe. She eats last, always last, alone. Internal whisper. I used to think dinner meant family. Now, it means quiet. The candle ritual. After cleaning up, she lights a single candle and places it by the spinning wheel. This is her moment. No chores, no noise. Just the hush of flame. The children sleep in the back room. Even John doesn't come in for a while. Old journal, new page. Mary opens her old leather journal. It's worn, like her apron. She writes a few words. Today, I felt invisible, but not empty. She pauses, dips the pen again, and adds, being quiet is not the same as being voiceless. Tagger, spin, Brammer thought. As the candle lowers, she spins wool one last time. Her hands move out of memory, not effort. She hums an old tune, the kind her mother once did. It's not a lullaby. It's a song for women who wait. The final walk through the house. She checks the latch, straightens the rug, closes the window slowly so the breeze doesn't wake the children. She runs her fingers over the wooden frames. This home, built by years, not just bricks. I am more than wife, more than mother. I am the keeper of this quiet world. She grinds cornmeal for porridge and sets a kettle over the fire. no one else is awake yet. Just the faint sound of birds and the groaning wood above. In the next room, the children lie tangled in woolen sheets. She tiptoes in, gently whispering, "Martha, Ben, it's morning." They stir like sleepy kittens, their cheeks warm and eyes half closed. After dressing them, washing their faces with cold well water, she kisses their foreheads. There is no school today, just the rhythm of farm chores and daydreams. She steps out into the garden. The air smells of wet earth and ripe beans. She checks the herbs first. Lavender's holding strong, but the thyme looks tired, she murmurs. Beyond the herbs, the hens cluck impatiently. She scatters feed from a wooden bowl, and the feathery chaos begins. A rooster hops twice and struts away with pride. She sighs. The day has truly begun now. No bell, no siren, just the unfolding of another invisible chapter in a woman's quiet life. The clouds hung heavy in the sky, gray and swollen, like secrets waiting to spill. Mary glanced up while pulling water from the well, a quiet dread building inside her. The first drop hit her arm, cold and sudden, then another. And soon the sky broke open like a memory long buried. She rushed inside, grabbing the linen hanging on the line. It was half dry, now ruined. She sighed, but said nothing. The children were in the kitchen, sitting quietly with books. The crackling fire kept them warm. John wasn't home yet. He'd gone to the mill, and the road would be muddy now. To pass the time, Mary walked into the attic. It was dim, smelling of dust and thyme. She ran her fingers over an old trunk. Inside, wrapped in linen and ribbon, was a leather-bound book, her mother's diary. She hadn't opened it in years. Her hands trembled as she flipped the pages. It was full of stories, of longing, love, hunger, faith, and fear. Mary found a small pressed flower between the pages. A violet, a memory of her mother's wedding day. Tears welled up in her eyes. Not of sadness, but of continuity. Of knowing that even silence holds stories. The rain didn't stop. Thunder echoed through the hills, and the wind howled against the wooden walls. The children huddled together under blankets. Mary lit the old brass lamp and placed it near the fireplace. Its glow flickered, warm, golden, alive. She whispered, "We'll be safe. The house always holds us." The roof creaked, a shingle rattled loose. The trees groaned outside, bending to the wind's fury. Mary sat at the spinning wheel, her fingers moving without thought. She needed the rhythm, the sound, the distraction. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. It was Martha, their neighbor, soaked to the bone, breathless. Her daughter had fallen ill, and she didn't know what to do. Without a word, Mary pulled her shawl and followed Martha into the storm. They reached Martha's cabin, damp and smoky. The little girl was burning with fever. Mary boiled herbs, crushed roots, and prepared a poultice. She stayed all night, whispering songs and wiping the girl's forehead. By morning, the fever had broken. Mary walked home with the sun rising behind her. Her shoes were soaked, but her heart was calm. She whispered a silent prayer. Let kindness always find its way, even in the dark.